You want respect, right? Forget about that. What you really need is fear. You want to walk into a room and make everyone stop breathing. No words, no smiles, no nods, just pure silence. Let the quiet fill the space and make them feel uneasy. Words don't matter. Actions are louder, but silence is a force. It's the kind that lingers in their minds long after you leave. People are easy to figure out, weak, always talking, trying to convince others they're important. But the more they talk, the more they show how much they crave attention. They don't notice, but everyone else does. You're not like them. You'll stand there, say nothing, keep a blank expression. Let them wonder what's going on in your head. You're here because you want me to tell you how to gain respect, how to make others take you seriously, right? You probably think you need to talk more, or find tricks to control people's thoughts. But you're wrong. You don't need any of that. What you need is already inside you. You've been lied to your whole life, told that talking and explaining would get you ahead. But how's that worked for you? Not very well, huh? That's because words are for the weak. You don't need approval. What you need is silence, cold, powerful silence. Ever been in a room where no one speaks, but you can feel the tension, the discomfort? That's the kind of power you need, the kind that doesn't rely on talking. It's all in your presence. They'll feel it when you enter. The air will thicken, and they'll wonder what's in your mind, but you won't say a thing. Let's be clear. People don't care about you. They'll smile and pretend to like you, but the second you're out of sight, you're forgotten. And that's where your strength lies. When you stop caring about them, when you don't need their approval, you'll become someone they fear, someone they can't control. You've been following the rules, trying to fit into a system that was never made for you. You've been playing nice, doing everything right, but where has that gotten you? Nowhere. The world doesn't care about what you deserve. It only cares about who takes what they want without asking. And that's where silence comes in. Stop talking, stop explaining, and watch them fear you. Think about it. How many times have you spoken, only to regret it? Every word you say gives them power to twist your meaning. But silence takes that power away. It leaves them nothing. You might wonder, but how will they know who I am if I don't speak? How will they respect me? That's the trap they want you to fall into. They want you to think you need to yell to be noticed. But here's the truth. The quieter you are, the more power you have. You ever seen someone walk into a room and immediately command attention without saying a word? That's control. That's power. It's not just silence, it's the confidence that comes with it. When you stay silent, you're telling everyone that you don't need their approval, that their opinions don't matter. and that terrifies them. They need you to react, to care, to play their game. But when you refuse to do that, when you stay still and silent, they start questioning everything about you. That's when you've won. Most people are insecure. They talk because they're scared of silence. They need validation. But you're different. You're the person who stands in the storm without flinching. Let them talk. Let them try to provoke you. You'll stay calm, silent, and they'll hate you for it. Why? Because they can't control you. They can't figure you out, and that's exactly what you want. Silence is more than just not speaking, it's a weapon. And when you learn to use it, there's nothing they can do to stop you. They'll fear your presence, not because of what you say or do, but because of what you don't say or do. The unknown is powerful. You've seen how people talk more when they're nervous, right? They can't handle silence. And the longer you stay quiet, the more they unravel. They'll expose their weaknesses, and that's when you strike, without a word, without an action. Just your presence. You're going to be the one who doesn't need to fight, who doesn't need to shout to be heard. You'll walk into a room and everyone will feel you before they even see you. And when you leave, they'll talk about you, not because of what you said, but because of what you didn't. This takes discipline. It's hard to resist the urge to react, to defend yourself. But the more you stay silent, the more power you gain. Every time you stay calm, you weaken them. The more they push, the more desperate they get. They'll try everything to provoke you, insults, threats, even violence. But you're untouchable. You don't need to prove anything. Your silence proves it all. Eventually, they'll break. Under the pressure of their own insecurities, they'll snap. And when they do, you'll win, not because you fought back, but because you stayed in control. And that's what scares them the most. Silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. It's the power to stand still while the world moves around you, unshaken. It's more dangerous than any insult or punch. Because silence stays, and that's where your power lies, making them question themselves. They'll never understand until it's too late. Silence breeds fear. People fear what they can't control. When you stop reacting, they lose control. And that's when they start to panic. Silence is a mirror. It makes them face their own weaknesses. And you don't have to say a thing. Just stand there, quiet, and let them destroy themselves from the inside. And in the end, you'll have all the power, all the respect, and all the fear. They'll know one thing for sure: you are untouchable. People are built to seek approval. It's something ingrained in our nature, passed down over time. The desire to be seen, to be noticed, to be valued by others. But here's the catch. This craving for validation can become your greatest weakness. You see, when people are desperate to be seen, they reveal themselves. Every word they speak, every attempt to gain attention, only shows how weak they are. It's not strength that needs to be proclaimed, it's something more profound: presence. Your silence, your presence, speaks louder than any word ever could. Silence has a way of forcing others to fill the void, to imagine what might be going on inside your mind. It unsettles them. It makes them uncomfortable. They can't handle it. But you'll get used to it. You'll find strength in it. Because silence gives you the upper hand. People have a hard time understanding something they can't explain or predict. Think about the people who command the most respect in any room. Do they talk the most? Do they boast about their achievements? No. They are the ones who speak the least, yet everything they do has meaning. Their movements are calculated. Their looks have weight. And when they remain silent, it's not because they have nothing to say. It's because what they would say doesn't need to be spoken. The very act of saying something would diminish their presence. When you learn to master silence, you understand the power of making others question themselves. People need validation. They need to feel that they're in control, that their words are being heard, and that they are the ones driving the conversation. But when you refuse to engage, when you offer nothing but stillness, you make them question themselves. They can't figure you out. And when they can't figure you out, they'll begin to fear you. Fear, my friend, is the ultimate form of control. Now, let's take a moment to consider how society pushes us to communicate. From an early age, we're taught to speak up, to be vocal, to share our thoughts and ideas. We're told that in order to be heard, we have to use our voices. We have to make noise. But the truth is, the louder you speak, the more you reveal about your insecurities. When you're desperate to be heard, you show how much you need others' approval. Silence is the antithesis of this. Silence forces people to confront their own discomforts. It forces them to deal with the anxiety of not knowing what you're thinking. And that's where your power lies. When you control the narrative of your own presence, when you refuse to let others dictate your worth or value, you become untouchable. You stop playing by their rules. You stop trying to win them over. Instead, you make them chase after your approval. You make them wonder why you're not speaking, why you're not reacting, why you're not playing the game. They'll be desperate to get a reaction out of you. It's a form of control. Provoking someone to respond is a way to claim dominance in a conversation or situation. But you won't give them that power. You'll stay above it. You'll be the one who remains calm, collected, and silent. And with each passing moment, their desperation will grow. Because as much as they try to draw you in, as much as they attempt to push your buttons, they'll be left with nothing. When you stop speaking, you start listening. You start noticing the subtle signs, the micro expressions, the body language. You begin to understand the true dynamics of a room, not through words, but through energy. People speak to get their message across, but their body speaks louder than their words. You'll learn to read between the lines, to see the truth in what isn't being said. This is the kind of power that comes from silence awareness. Think about the moments when you've been in a room full of people talking over each other, each person trying to outdo the other. It's chaotic and it's weak. Those who shout the loudest often have the least to say. The true power lies in the quiet moments, the pauses between conversations, the moments when no one knows what to do next. And that's when you make your move. Not by speaking, but by standing still. By remaining silent and letting everyone else trip over their words. It's almost like watching a storm from a distance. The noise, the chaos, the confusion all swirl around you, but you remain calm, centered, unaffected by it all. It's during these moments when your presence is most powerful. You control the room by saying nothing. People will notice your stillness. They'll feel the weight of your presence without you having to do a thing. And in that moment, they'll realize just how small their words are. It's important to remember that silence doesn't mean weakness. It means strength. People associate silence with fear, uncertainty, or the idea that someone has nothing to offer. But the opposite is true. Silence from someone who is confident and in control sends a message. It says, I don't need to speak. I don't need your validation. I don't need you to understand me. It's a challenge. A silent declaration that you are above the need for external approval. This is the point where the game changes. When you stop seeking approval, you stop being vulnerable. You stop letting others dictate your worth. You stop chasing after their respect because you've realized something. They don't have the power to give it to you. It's already yours. It's not something they can offer. It's something you take by simply existing. When you stop reacting to their provocations, when you stop getting caught up in their attempts to draw you out, you become a force they can't handle. They'll be the ones left scrambling, wondering why you won't bite, why you won't fight back, why you're so different. And that uncertainty, it will eat them alive. It will make them question everything they thought they knew about you. People need to feel that they have control over their environment. They need to feel like they can predict others' reactions, that they can manipulate the situation to their advantage. But when you stop playing by their rules, when you refuse to react, they lose control. They can't manipulate someone who refuses to be manipulated. They can't predict someone who remains silent. This is where true power lies. in your ability to remain unaffected, in your ability to hold your ground, no matter how much they push or pry. And the more they push, the more desperate they become, the more they reveal about their own insecurities. In the end, they'll crack under the pressure, while you remain unshaken. And what's left? They'll fear you. They'll respect you. They'll never fully understand why you hold such control over them. It's because you've mastered the art of silence. You've learned that words are just noise. Action is important, but silence is where real strength comes from. It's not about what you say. It's about what you choose not to say. It's not about what you do. It's about what you choose not to do. The truth is, people will never fully understand the power of silence until they've been on the receiving end of it. Until they've faced someone who remains calm, quiet, and utterly unfazed by their attempts to provoke, manipulate, or control. And when that happens, they'll begin to see the truth: they never had control over you. They never had power over you. They never even had a chance. So, let them speak. Let them shout. Let them try to provoke you, to get you to react. Because you'll never give them that satisfaction. You'll stand there, still and quiet, and let them unravel in front of you. And when they do, that's when you'll know you've won. Not with words, not with actions, but with silence. The world we live in is full of noise. It's relentless, constant chatter, people shouting for attention, desperate for recognition. And you're surrounded by it. Everywhere you go, people are talking, trying to assert their dominance, trying to be heard. But here's the thing: the louder they speak, the less they actually say. Words are often just a mask for insecurity. They're a shield, an attempt to cover up the weakness that lies beneath. And those who speak the loudest, they're usually the ones who are most afraid of being ignored. The ones who crave validation the most. But you don't need any of that. You've learned the secret. Silence is the ultimate weapon. It's the one thing that's impossible to fake. You can fake confidence, you can fake strength, but silence speaks for itself. And here's the real power of silence. When you're silent, you make the world around you uncomfortable. It's like walking into a room where everyone is talking, laughing, and suddenly the conversation just stops. They all turn to look at you, but you don't say a word. You let the silence fill the air, make everyone wonder. They'll start to squirm, unsure of what to say or how to act. But you remain still, unbothered. You control the room without saying a single word. And that discomfort, that's exactly what you want. Because when people are uncomfortable, they start to show their true colors. They get nervous, they get defensive. They'll start overcompensating, trying to regain control. They'll talk more, trying to fill the silence, trying to break the tension. And that's when you know you've got them. You've already won. Because while they're floundering, trying to regain their balance, you're standing still, silent, in control. The irony is, people think silence means weakness. They think if you're not talking, you're not involved, you're not engaged, that you're passive. But nothing could be further from the truth. Silence is the ultimate form of engagement. It's active, not passive. It forces people to react to you, not the other way around. It's an invitation for them to show their hand. And when they do, when they let their insecurity or desperation slip through the cracks, that's when you strike. You've probably seen it. Those who have mastered the art of silence don't need to react to every little thing. They don't need to jump into every conversation, every argument, every drama. They simply stand there, unwavering, unaffected, and that is what makes them powerful. It's their presence that commands attention, not their words. They walk into a room, and everyone feels the shift. It's like the air around them becomes thicker, heavier.